Hey warriors, let me speak to the version of you that's exhausted. Not physically, but mentally, quietly, secretly. Because deep down, you know something is wrong. You can feel it in the way your thoughts pile up faster than you can process them. You can feel it in the way one small worry becomes a full storm. You can feel it in the way silence, something that should calm you, now feels threatening. But here's the truth you rarely admit. Your mind has become louder than your life. And that didn't happen suddenly. It happened slowly, quietly, one small cut at a time. Think back. There was a time when your inner world was simple, light, and open. Your inner child knew how to exist without judgment, to laugh without replaying, to feel without fear, to live without drowning in mental noise. But as you grew, life didn't just add responsibilities. It added pressure. It added expectations. It added comparisons, deadlines, judgments, and fears. And somewhere along the way, your mind turned into a crowded room where every voice speaks at once. This is not overthinking. This is cognitive looping. The mind stuck in replay mode, recycling the same fears, the same memories, the same imagined disasters over and over until you mistake them for truth. And here's the painful part. You start believing the noise more than your own strength. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Epictetus warned, when your thoughts own you, you lose yourself. Meaning, your freedom begins the moment you regain command over your mind. So, here's the dramatic truth. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not losing control. You're simply untrained in a world that overwhelms the untrained mind. That's why this video was created. To show you 8 Stoic truths that will quiet the noise, break the peaks, and restore the inner focus you've been searching for before we begin. Like, share with anyone who needs it, and if you're new, please subscribe. Now breathe. Because today, warrior, you take back your mind. Number 1. A quiet mind shapes a powerful life. Stop for a second and feel it. Can you sense it? That constant hum in your head, the storm that never stops, the doubts, the what-ifs, the replay of conversations you wish you could forget. Even when the world outside is calm, inside you're trapped in a whirlwind. Thoughts pull you into battles you never agreed to fight, and slowly, silently, your energy, your focus, your peace, everything that matters, starts slipping away. Here's the harsh truth most people refuse to admit. The chaos isn't out there, it's inside. Your mind has become louder than your life. Those fleeting judgments, small criticisms, ignored messages, they aren't the problem. The problem is the space you've allowed them inside your head. Think back. There was a time when your mind was light, uncluttered, fully present. Your inner child laughed without analyzing, felt without fear, and existed without drowning in mental noise. But life happened. Responsibilities piled up, expectations multiplied, comparisons, deadlines, social pressure, all crept in silently. And now, your mind is a crowded room, each voice shouting over the other, demanding attention. This is cognitive looping, not thinking, not problem-solving, replaying the past, fearing the future, imagining disasters that haven't happened yet. And here's the scary part. You don't even notice the hijacking. Your focus fractures, your energy drains, your peace disappears, all because invisible triggers, old wounds, unhealed memories, ego-driven fears are controlling you. Imagine your mind as a lake at dawn. The surface is smooth, mirroring the sky. A pebble falls, the ripple spreads. That ripple is external stress, a judgment, a memory. But the water itself, the observer within, has the power to settle. That calm is where strength is born. That stillness is your power. A quiet mind shapes a powerful life. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus said, "When your thoughts own you, you lose yourself." Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Your inner calm is not a gift, it's a choice. Awareness is your weapon. Pause. Breathe. Notice the thought hijacking your energy. Decide, will it control you, or will you remain the observer? Practical exercise. Today, pick one recurring thought that drains you. Step back. Ask, is this mine, or is it borrowed from fear or habit? Label it, observe it, let it pass. Repeat daily. Slowly, the noise fades. Calm becomes the default. Clarity emerges. Strength rises. Here's the dramatic truth. Your life isn't dictated by circumstance. It's dictated by where you place your attention. Protect your mind. Guard your peace. Build stillness, and everything else follows. Focus, resilience, action, power. Comment below. I claim my quiet mind. Share with someone drowning in mental noise, and subscribe if this is your first time. Because a quiet mind is cultivated, not given. Breathe. Observe. Choose. Your power begins in the silence of your mind. Number 2. Attention directs your inner world. Pause for a moment, not with your breath, with your awareness. Do you feel it? The tug, the pull, the constant drift of your attention toward things that don't deserve a second of your life. Notifications, unfinished conversations, imagined scenarios, invisible fears, each one quietly stealing a piece of your inner world. Most people never realize this truth. Your attention is the steering wheel of your inner universe. Where it goes, your emotions follow. Where it lingers, your reality forms. But here's the hidden struggle no one likes to talk about. You think you're choosing what you focus on, but most of the time, your attention is being hijacked by old memories you didn't resolve, hijacked by insecurities you never challenged, hijacked by impulses that aren't even yours, just echoes from the past. You feel overwhelmed, not because life is too loud, but because your awareness keeps drifting toward the noise. Think back. When you were young, your attention flowed like sunlight. It rested naturally on what fascinated you, what felt alive, what made you curious. You weren't stressed, you weren't fragmented. Your inner world was simple, centered, whole. But as you grew, the world grew louder. Responsibilities multiplied. Pressure expanded. Every screen, every demand, every expectation started competing for your awareness. And slowly, silently, your inner world became cluttered, not because your mind is weak, but because your attention was never trained. This is one of the greatest psychological traps of modern life. Your mind doesn't decide your focus decides your mind. When attention lands on fear, the world feels unsafe. When it settles on doubt, confidence collapses. When it sits inside old memories, the present disappears. When it fuels comparison, self-worth dissolves. Attention isn't just observation, it's creation. It shapes moods, it fuels emotion, it builds meaning, it forms identity. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." But here's the deeper Stoic truth behind that line. What you think is colored by where your attention rests. Picture your mind as a vast field. Where you place your attention is where you water the soil. Water fear, fear grows. Water clarity, clarity expands. Water chaos, chaos strengthens. Water patience, focus, courage. Those become your natural state. Your inner world is not a reflection of your life. It's a reflection of your attention. But here's where transformation truly begins. Awareness creates the distance between you and the distraction. The moment you notice where your attention is drifting, you reclaim authority over your mind. Here's a simple exercise, but don't underestimate it. Attention reset exercise. Look at 5 objects around you. Feel their shapes, colors, sounds, stillness. Bring your awareness fully into the moment. Then ask yourself, where was my attention just now, and did it deserve to be there? Do this once in the morning, once at night. You'll feel your mind clear, your emotions settle, your focus sharpen. Why? Because you're pulling your attention back from the world and placing it inside yourself. Here's the dramatic truth. You can't control everything in life, but you can control the spotlight of your awareness. And that spotlight determines the quality of your inner world. Choose wisely. Protect your attention the way you protect your time. Don't let small minds, small problems, or small distractions occupy the space meant for your peace. Your inner world is shaped not by events, but by the direction of your focus. Comment below. I choose where my attention goes. Share with someone whose mind feels scattered. And if you're new here, subscribe. Because mastering your attention means mastering your life. Number 3. Action resets the restless mind. Pause for a moment and notice what's happening inside you, not in your thoughts, but beneath them, that uneasy tension, that invisible pressure, that restless buzz that makes it impossible to sit still even when nothing is actually wrong. You know that feeling. Your mind keeps racing, your emotions tighten, your body feels wired yet exhausted. Here's the truth people rarely acknowledge. The mind becomes restless when it holds energy it never releases. When you think too much and do too little, your inner world turns into a pressure cooker. Most of your anxiety isn't caused by problems. It's caused by inaction, by staying trapped in your head, replaying scenarios, imagining outcomes, revisiting fears. The mind loops endlessly when the body stays still. Think back to when you were a child. You never sat with restlessness. You moved. You ran outside. You played. You explored. You expressed energy instead of storing it. But adulthood teaches the opposite. Sit still. Think harder. Plan more. Worry earlier. Overanalyze everything. And slowly, silently, the natural release of mental tension disappears. Your thoughts multiply. Your calm shrinks, and the simplest task feels overwhelming. This is where most people get stuck. They wait for clarity to take action. But the Stoics knew the opposite is true. Clarity appears because of action, not before it. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Why? Because the mind, when idle, invents suffering, but action interrupts imagination. Movement breaks the mental storm. Doing dissolves the loop. Imagine your mind as a river. When water flows, it stays clear, but when it stagnates, it darkens. Thoughts are the same. If they don't move into action, they pool and become muddy. That's why action, any action, creates an immediate reset, not because the world changes, but because your internal momentum shifts. The emotional fog lifts. The mental noise settles, the restless energy releases. Think about the times when you felt overwhelmed, then forced yourself to clean your room, go for a walk, send one message, complete one small task. Almost instantly, your mind felt lighter. Not because the problem disappeared, but because movement gave your brain direction. Here's the hidden truth. Your mind doesn't calm down before you move. Your mind calms down because you move. Action is an anchor. It pulls you out of imagination and drops you into reality. It shifts you from passive suffering to active control. It changes the emotional chemistry inside you. Here's a simple yet powerful exercise to break restlessness in under 2 minutes. The 2-minute reset. Choose one tiny physical action, anything. Organize your desk. Sip water slowly. Stretch your arms. Write one sentence. Walk for 60 seconds. Focus on the movement, not the outcome. Feel your breath sinking with the action. Notice the tension drop as the mind follows the body. Do this whenever anxiety spikes or overthinking starts. You'll feel the reset instantly. Because here's the dramatic truth. Your mind is not the command center. Your actions are. When your body moves with intention, your thoughts fall in line. When you take control of your actions, you regain control of your reality. A restless mind isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of unused energy. Action is how you release it, redirect it, and transform it into clarity, courage, and momentum. Warrior, start small. Move with purpose. Act even when you're unsure, because every step you take pulls you out of chaos and back into your power. Comment below, I choose action. Share this with someone stuck in their head. And if you're new here, subscribe, because action doesn't just change your day, it reshapes your destiny. Number 4. Thoughts you allow. Define your reality. Stop everything for a moment and pay attention, not to your surroundings, but to the quiet voice inside your mind. Listen closely. What is it telling you right now? Is it encouraging you or draining you? Is it grounding you or slowly pulling you into a world made of fears, doubts, and assumptions? Here's a truth most people never confront. Your life doesn't change when your circumstances change. Your life changes when your thinking changes, because every emotion you feel, every decision you make, every action you take, begins as a thought, a single idea, a tiny spark inside your mind. And depending on which thoughts you entertain, your entire reality bends around them. Think about it. Two people can experience the same situation, but one sees failure, the other sees opportunity. One feels cursed, the other feels challenged. One collapses, the other grows. What's the difference? The thoughts they allow. Your mind is not just a container, it's an architect. It builds the world you walk through. If you let insecurity in, it shapes the walls. If you let fear in, it designs the ceiling. If you let doubt in, it draws the windows. Soon, you're not living in the world. You're living inside the structure your thoughts created. This process begins early. Remember your childhood. You didn't fear the future. You didn't overanalyze people's opinions. Your mind was clear, curious, free. You lived in a world built by imagination, joy, and presence. But as life unfolded, criticism, comparison, failures, disappointments, all slipped inside your mind unnoticed, and slowly, the inner space shifted. Your thoughts became harsher, your beliefs grew heavier, your perception narrowed. This is how mental distortion begins. Not with trauma, not with tragedy, but with repeated thoughts you never questioned. Stoicism teaches a powerful idea. You cannot always control what enters your mind, but you can choose what stays. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Meaning, whatever you allow to linger eventually becomes your worldview, your personality, your identity. If you repeat a thought long enough, your mind accepts it as truth. Then your behavior aligns with it. Then your life reflects it. This is why negative thinking feels so real. Not because it's true, but because it's familiar. But here's the turning point. You are the gatekeeper. You decide which thoughts get permission to stay. You choose which ones deserve attention. You determine which ones shape your inner landscape. So, here's a simple exercise to regain control. The thought filter technique. Whenever a thought appears, pause and ask. 1. Is this thought factual or emotional? 2. Does this thought empower me or weaken me? 3. Is this thought coming from my present or my past? 4. If this thought became my reality, would I accept that life? If the answer weakens your spirit, release it. Detach. Let it pass like a cloud drifting across the sky. You don't fight the thought. You simply stop feeding it. What you starve fades. What you nourish grows. Here's the dramatic truth. Your mind will always offer thousands of thoughts, but the ones you embrace determine the world you live in. If you choose thoughts of resilience, you build strength. If you choose thoughts of calm, you gain clarity. If you choose thoughts of purpose, your life moves in that direction. So a thought is small, but its consequences, massive. So guard your inner world fiercely. Don't let every idea take root. Filter, observe, choose intentionally. Because the reality you experience tomorrow is being shaped by the thoughts you allow today. Comment below. I choose empowering thoughts. Share this with someone trapped in negativity and subscribe if you're new. Because mastering your mind is how you master your life. Number 5. Resolve unfinished loops to gain clarity. Pause for a moment. Not to think, but to notice. Can you feel the quiet weight in your mind? Not loud, not dramatic. Just a constant tension sitting in the background of your thoughts. It's the message you never replied to, the task you postponed, the conversation you avoided, the decision you've been delaying, the fear you pushed aside. These are what psychologists call open loops. Unfinished mental tasks that drain your energy even when you're not consciously thinking about them. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Your mind isn't overwhelmed because you have too much to do. It's overwhelmed because too much is left incomplete. Every unresolved task becomes a tab running in your mental browser. 1 or 2 is manageable, but over time, you're carrying dozens, sometimes hundreds. Each one quietly consuming focus, clarity, and emotional strength. This is why your mind feels heavy even when you're resting, why silence feels uncomfortable, why simple decisions feel exhausting, why you wake up tired no matter how long you sleep. Your brain is constantly managing unfinished business. Invisible clutter. Psychological noise. Think back to when you were young. Your mind felt spacious, light, effortless. Not because life was easier, but because you weren't carrying unresolved loops. When you were done, you were done. You didn't store emotional baggage or postpone decisions. You lived cleanly, fully, presently. But adulthood changed that. Suddenly, you're juggling responsibilities, navigating relationships, balancing expectations, responding to constant notifications, and dealing with old memories you never healed from. Each unresolved moment became another open loop, another whisper pulling at you, another mental tug draining your clarity. This is why Stoicism emphasizes completion and closure. The Stoics understood that the mind is sharpest when it's not divided. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you must do." Meaning, clarity comes from finishing, not from thinking about finishing. So how do you break free from mental clutter? With deliberate closure. Not rushing, not forcing, but intentionally completing the loops that have been stealing your peace. The 4-step loop clearing method. 1. Identify the open loops. Write down everything unfinished. Tasks, conversations, intentions, promises, decisions. Seeing them removes their hidden power. 2. Sort them by emotional weight. Which ones drain you the most? Sometimes the smallest task, like sending a message, carries the biggest mental load. 3. Close one loop immediately. Not 10. Not everything at once. Just one. Completion creates momentum. Momentum creates clarity. 4. Create a habit of micro-closures. Each day, resolve at least one unfinished loop. Bit by bit, the mental fog lifts. When you start closing loops, something powerful happens. Your energy returns, your focus sharpens, your decisions become clearer, your anxiety fades, your motivation rises because your mind is no longer fragmented. It's whole, centered, directed. Imagine your mind like a room. Every unfinished task is an object on the floor. A sock here, a book there, a cup in the corner, individually small but collectively overwhelming. Cleaning the room doesn't just change how it looks, it changes how you feel inside it. That's exactly what closing loops does for your inner world. Here's the dramatic truth. Clarity isn't something you find. Clarity is something you create by removing what blocks it. A cleared mind becomes a focused mind. A focused mind becomes an intentional life. Warrior, start today. Close one loop, then another tomorrow, then another. Your clarity is waiting on the other side of completion. Comment below, I clear what drains me. Share this with someone stuck in mental clutter and subscribe if you haven't already, because clarity is built through daily inner work. Number 6. Resolve unfinished loops to gain clarity. Pause for a moment, not to think, but to notice. Can you feel the quiet weight in your mind? Not loud, not dramatic. Just a constant tension sitting in the background of your thoughts. It's the message you never replied to, the task you postponed, the conversation you avoided, the decision you've been delaying, the fear you pushed aside. These are what psychologists call open loops, unfinished mental tasks that drain your energy, even when you're not consciously thinking about them. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your mind isn't overwhelmed because you have too much to do. It's overwhelmed because too much is left incomplete. Every unresolved task becomes a tab running in your mental browser. One or two is manageable. But over time, you're carrying dozens, sometimes hundreds, each one quietly consuming focus, clarity, and emotional strength. This is why your mind feels heavy even when you're resting, why silence feels uncomfortable, why simple decisions feel exhausting, why you wake up tired no matter how long you sleep. Your brain is constantly managing unfinished business, invisible clutter. Psychological noise. Think back to when you were young. Your mind felt spacious, light, effortless. Not because life was easier, but because you weren't carrying unresolved loops. When you were done, you were done. You didn't store emotional baggage or postpone decisions. You lived cleanly, fully, presently. But adulthood changed that. Suddenly, you're juggling responsibilities, navigating relationships, balancing expectations, responding to constant notifications, and dealing with old memories you never healed from. Each unresolved moment became another open loop, another whisper pulling at you, another mental tug draining your clarity. This is why Stoicism emphasizes completion and closure. The Stoics understood that the mind is sharpest when it's not divided. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you must do." Meaning, clarity comes from finishing, not from thinking about finishing. So how do you break free from mental clutter? With deliberate closure. Not rushing, not forcing, but intentionally completing the loops that have been stealing your peace. The 4-step loop clearing method. 1. Identify the open loops. Write down everything unfinished. Tasks, conversations, intentions, promises, decisions. Seeing them removes their hidden power. 2. Sort them by emotional weight. Which ones drain you the most? Sometimes the smallest task, like sending a message, carries the biggest mental load. 3. Close one loop immediately. Not 10. Not everything at once. Just one. Completion creates momentum. Momentum creates clarity. 4. Create a habit of micro-closures. Each day, resolve at least one unfinished loop. Bit by bit, the mental fog lifts. When you start closing loops, something powerful happens. Your energy returns. Your focus sharpens. Your decisions become clearer, your anxiety fades, your motivation rises because your mind is no longer fragmented. It's whole, centered, directed. Imagine your mind like a room. Every unfinished task is an object on the floor. A sock here, a book there, a cup in the corner, individually small, but collectively overwhelming. Cleaning the room doesn't just change how it looks. It changes how you feel inside it. That's exactly what closing loops does for your inner world. Here's the dramatic truth. Clarity isn't something you find. Clarity is something you create by removing what blocks it. A cleared mind becomes a focused mind. A focused mind becomes an intentional life. Warrior, start today. Close one loop, then another tomorrow, then another. Your clarity is waiting on the other side of completion. Comment below. I clear what drains me. Share this with someone stuck in mental clutter, and subscribe if you haven't already, because clarity is built through daily inner work. Number 7. Declutter your space to declutter your mind. Pause for a moment. Look around your room, your desk, your workspace, your phone screen. Really look. Does it feel light or heavy? Open or suffocating? Calm or chaotic? Most people underestimate this truth. Your external environment is a mirror of your internal state. And often, the mess you see around you isn't just physical. It's psychological. It's emotional. It's the residue of decisions you avoided, emotions you postponed, and thoughts you never resolved. That's why Stoicism teaches that clarity begins with order. Not just mental order, but the structure of the world around you. Here's the deeper reality most people never notice. Every object in your space carries weight. A pile of clothes isn't just fabric. It's a delayed decision. A cluttered desk isn't just disorganization. It's a reflection of tangled priorities. A messy room isn't just untidiness. It's an environment that silently drains your focus. Physical clutter becomes cognitive noise. Visual disorder becomes mental fog. Too many objects become too many micro-distractions. And without realizing it, your mind is constantly scanning, processing, remembering, reacting to everything in your environment. Even the things you think you're ignoring. That's why you feel tired without doing much. That's why simple tasks feel heavier. That's why your mind struggles to settle. Because disorder consumes attention. Attention shapes thought, and thought shapes life. Think back to when you were young. Your world was simpler. Your room probably had fewer items, fewer responsibilities, fewer demands. And because the outer world was light, your inner world felt light too. As you grew older, you accumulated things. Not just objects, but obligations, memories, attachments, expectations. Your space filled up. Your mind followed. Now your room reflects your internal landscape. Unfinished tasks, unmade decisions, unresolved emotions. But here's where everything shifts. When you clear your physical environment, you create mental space you didn't know you were missing. It's not about minimalism. It's about mental liberation. Why decluttering works so deeply. 1. It reduces mental friction. Fewer items mean fewer distractions. Fewer distractions mean more clarity. 2. It restores a sense of control. Order in your space becomes order in your mind. You feel capable, grounded, steady. 3. It simplifies decision-making. Every unnecessary object is a micro-decision waiting to be made. Removing them frees cognitive energy. 4. It changes how you speak to yourself. A clean space says, I deserve clarity. I respect my mind. I'm capable of creating order. 5. It anchors you in the present. You stop living among reminders of past chaos and start existing inside a space built for focus and calm. Imagine this. Your space becomes like a calm morning field, open, breathable, steady. Nothing pulls at your attention. Nothing demands your energy. Your mind finally has room to think, room to breathe, room to expand. This is why Stoics valued simplicity, not because they disliked comfort, but because they understood that clutter crowds the mind and simplicity strengthens it. Here's a simple, powerful exercise. Choose one small area today. A drawer, shelf, desk corner, or your phone's home screen. Clear it. Organize it. Remove anything that doesn't serve your peace. Pay attention to what you feel afterward. The mental lightness, the fresh clarity, the quiet confidence that feeling is not an accident. It's the beginning of internal order. Because here's the dramatic truth. Your environment trains your mind. If your space is noisy, your thinking becomes scattered. If your space is intentional, your mind becomes sharp. Warrior, start tiny, but start today. Comment below. I clear my space. I clear my mind. Share this with someone drowning in physical and mental clutter. And subscribe, because building a powerful mind begins with the world you build around it. Clean space. Clear mind. Stronger life. Number 8. Resisting emotions strengthens them. Stop for a moment. Think about the last time you felt something heavy. Anger, sadness, disappointment, jealousy, anxiety. What was your first reaction? You tried to push it away. You distracted yourself. You pretended you were fine. You tightened your chest and told your mind, "Not now. I don't want to feel this." But here's the paradox. No one teaches us. The more you fight an emotion, the deeper it digs into you. What you resist doesn't disappear. It grows roots. It expands. It takes control. This is why Stoicism teaches observation, not suppression. Because when you push an emotion down, you feed it with fear. And anything fed by fear becomes stronger. Look at your own life. The anger you tried to bury didn't vanish. It resurfaced louder. The sadness you ignored became heaviness. The anxiety you avoided started controlling your choices. The guilt you suppressed shaped your self-worth. Resistance is like pressing a beach ball underwater. The harder you push, the more violently it pops back up. Emotions behave the same way. Suppress them. They return with force. Avoid them. They take another form. Deny them. They turn into tension, insecurity, self-doubt, overthinking. Your body keeps the score. Your mind keeps the memory. Your heart keeps the truth. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You are harmed more by your refusal than by the emotion itself." He meant this. Feeling is not the enemy. Running from the feeling is, because an avoided emotion becomes a shadow that follows you everywhere. A faced emotion becomes a lesson. Imagine you're standing in front of a massive storm cloud. If you try to outrun it, it chases you. If you hide, it expands. But if you stand still and let it pass through, it loses power. It becomes rain. It becomes wind. It becomes nothing. Your emotions behave exactly like that storm. They are meant to move through you, not be imprisoned inside you. Here's the deeper truth. Emotions don't want control. They want acknowledgement. They want space. They want to be seen. When you let an emotion simply be, without reacting, without judging, without tightening, something remarkable happens. It dissolves. It softens. It loses its grip. This is emotional alchemy. Turning intensity into clarity by allowing it instead of fighting it. Try this exercise. The next time a strong emotion rises, don't resist, pause. Sit back from your thoughts. Say softly, "I feel this," and that's okay. Then observe where it sits in your body, your chest, throat, stomach, shoulders. Breathe into that area, not to push the emotion away, but to make space for it. Notice how the intensity begins to fall the moment you stop wrestling. Because here's the truth. Emotions are waves. They rise, they peak, they fall. Unless you hold them, unless you trap them, unless you resist them. Freedom comes from allowing, not avoiding. A warrior is not someone who feels nothing, but someone who lets emotions move without letting them rule. Here's the dramatic truth you need to remember. An emotion only controls you when you refuse to feel it. When you face it, you reclaim the power it once stole. Warrior, let this be your practice. Feel fully, observe calmly, release gently. Comment below, I allow what I feel, and I remain in control. Share this with someone who battles their emotions alone. Subscribe if you're new, because emotional mastery isn't suppression, it's awareness. Let the emotion rise, let it speak, then let it go. That is how you become unshakable. Conclusion. Warrior, if you've made it this far, pause for a moment and truly feel what's happening inside you right now. Notice the quiet shift. Notice the awareness. Notice the strength that was always there, just hidden beneath the noise, the pressure, the expectations, and the storms you never learned to navigate. Everything you've heard in this video leads to one simple truth. Your mind becomes powerful the moment you stop letting the world control it. When you direct your attention, when you take action instead of drowning in thought, when you choose which stories to believe, when you close the unfinished loops draining your clarity, when you declutter both your environment and your inner space, when you stop resisting emotions and begin observing them, you reclaim something priceless, ownership of your inner world. And this is the part most people never realize. Peace isn't found by escaping life. Peace is created by understanding yourself so deeply that life can no longer overwhelm you. Your thoughts shape your reality. Your focus shapes your future. Your awareness shapes your freedom. The Stoics didn't become unshakable by avoiding struggle. They became unshakable by mastering their relationship with their own mind. And that's exactly what you're learning to do. So take this with you. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're simply awakening. Learning to rise above the noise. Learning to see yourself clearly. Learning to lead your life from a place of calm strength rather than emotional chaos. This journey doesn't end here. It starts here. Every choice you make from today forward becomes a brick in the foundation of your new, powerful, focused inner world. If this message spoke to you, if it gave you clarity, comfort, or courage, then don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button, share this with someone who needs this peace, leave a comment with "I choose inner strength," and subscribe if you're new. Your transformation has already begun. Stay with me, warrior. We rise together.